Hi there, my name's Sean, and I want to talk about Rocko's modern life. Grab your boarding pass because today we're taking to the skies with Heifer's very first flight in Jetstream.
Come on, Hef, that's our flight.
We open in Rocko's kitchen. Heifer's sitting at the table with a book called Survive, a gripping tale of death and dining. The cover tells you everything you need to know. A crashed airplane, a snowy mountain, and a lone survivor holding a severed leg. The back of the book doesn't help either. It depicts what appears to be a steaming brain on a dinner plate, and 2 words peek out from the blurb above. You'll heave. So yeah, plane crashes, snow, and cannibalism. This is the headspace that Heifer's in before Rocko even enters the room. Rocko arrives with good news. He's got 2 tickets to a comic book convention in Las Vegas and wants Heifer to come with him. There's just one problem. Heifer has never flown before and is absolutely terrified of airplanes.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Rocko calmly explains that flying is one of the safest forms of travel, but Heifer's unconvinced. He spirals, sobbing and listing every reason he will not get on the plane under any circumstance. But Rocko tries one last angle.
My mind's made up.
They have complimentary finger foods.
And voila, just like that, they're at the airport. I mean, sure, a little bit of a 90s trope, kind of one of those womp womp moments, but kind of a cliche nowadays. Back then, sure, why not? Outside of O-Town International, Heifer clings to his luggage, shaking and asking Rocko if he's absolutely sure this is safe. Before Rocko can even answer, a baggage handler proudly welcomes them into the loving arms of D-Reg Airlines and takes their bags. Rocko even repeats the phrase like a mantra, loving arms. We immediately cut to the luggage conveyor system, where those loving arms turn out to be hammers, saws, fire, and stickers for completely unrelated destinations. The bags are beaten, shredded, torched, mislabeled, and finally shot out of a cannon straight into the sky. It's an impressively bitter gag, and the episode has barely started.
Like the man says, loving arms.
Inside the terminal, we get a very specific snapshot of pre-9/11 air travel. Heifer strolls through security without issue. Rocko, meanwhile, cannot stop setting off the metal detector. Keys out, coins out, shoes off, shirt off. The line behind him grows longer and angrier. Finally, a uniformed security officer approaches with pliers. The screen cuts to black just as we hear the unmistakable sounds of dental work. After an exaggerated trek to the gate, the boys finally board the plane. First class is revealed in all of its glory. Plush love seats with ottomans, a chandelier, a grand piano, and a lavish spread of food. Heifer makes a break for the buffet and is immediately yanked back.
But we're flying coach.
Of course, Coach is initially depicted like a collapsing shantytown. Boarded windows, dirt floors, chickens roaming the aisle, and seats patched together with plywood and 2x4s.
Welcome to Coach.
The joke eases back quickly, but the contrast lands. As the plane taxis, already stuck in runway traffic, we hear the pilot.
Welcome aboard D-Reg Airlines Flight 1313 to Las Vegas. Though I tend to black out at higher elevations, I'll be careful to not let this affect my performance today.
Takeoff begins. The plane rockets forward and G-forces slam every passenger straight to the back of the cabin. Even the pilot is ripped from the cockpit and dragged through Coach, clawing his way forward along the floor to regain control. Heifer somehow loves it.
That was a hoot!
And you might recognize that laugh right there as the soundbite that opens up every episode of the series. Later in the flight, Rocko is visibly airsick. Heifer tries to help by pressing buttons on the overhead console, but none of them quite do what they should. The air conditioning freezes Rocko into an ice cube, the heater melts him and dries out his eyeballs, and another button ejects the co-pilot who screams as he flies past the window outside.
That one must be broken.
Dinner service rolls through Coach. Food carts pass by carrying presumably more hams and cakes bound for first class. What Rocko and Heifer actually receive is a single peanut apiece, served with a knife and fork.
A steer cannot live on peanuts alone.
Heifer, having had enough of Coach life, makes a dash for first class. Rocko follows and slams into an invisible electric barrier. Heifer was able to pass through, but it looks like there will be no free upgrades for Rocko today. Back in his seat, Rocko tries to eat his peanut while this brat in front of him keeps repeatedly reclining his seat, sabotaging every attempt. Eventually, Rocko makes a desperate run for the restroom, dodging carts like a game of Frogger. At the back of the plane, a row of outhouse-style bathrooms await, all occupied, until one finally opens.
Hey, bub, it's all yours.
Rocko rushes in, relieves himself, and commits the ultimate sin. He flushes a paper towel. The plane immediately nosedives. Hundreds of feet drop away as alarms blare. Rocko manages to collect the paper towel from the toilet and discard it before exiting the bathroom to a cabin full of passengers, all staring at him in absolute fury. Back at his seat, Rocko puts on the complimentary headphones and cycles through the in-flight music. Classical, metal, reggae, lounge. Each track morphs his character design to match the genre. It's a quick but elegant gag. The bratty kid from before returns, plugging Rocko's headphones into an air vent and inflating his head like a balloon. Rocko finally snaps, grabs the kid, and stuffs him into an overhead bin. And like the end of every Reddit story, the whole cabin erupts in applause. Heifer returns from first class with stories of cable television, chocolate, and a bowling tournament he apparently won off screen. Trophy in hand, he settles back into coach just as storm clouds start gathering outside.
Ooh, cumulonimbus.
Turbulence hits hard. Lightning strikes an engine, the plane clips mountaintops, losing its wings, but somehow keeps the cabin intact. The flight attendant calmly announces their final descent. On the ground below, airport workers rush to lay out a massive target. The plane crashes directly onto it. The emergency slide deploys and passengers riot their way off the plane. Heifer, however, treats it more like an amusement park ride, riding it again and again.
Whee! Whee!
We find Rocko and Heifer at baggage claim between flights, and Heifer is thrilled and ready to board again. Rocko's had enough though. He chooses to take the bus instead. Figuring that he'll be safer since he's on the ground this time, we see the same bratty kid from before running up and down the aisle, and the pilot? Well, apparently he's the bus driver too.
This is your bus driver speaking. Brake maintenance is an important part of the safe driving experience.
Jet Scream works because it taps into a shared anxiety and then refuses to let it breathe. Every fear about flying is exaggerated into cartoon catastrophe. Security theater, cramped seating, screaming children, bad food, turbulence, it's all stacked without relief. The episode also benefits from the contrast. Heifer starts terrified and ends euphoric, while Rocko starts calm and ends completely broken. Their emotional trajectories cross mid-flight and never recover. Their reversal gives the chaos shape instead of turning it into noise. There's also a really sharp edge to the satire. Dereg Airlines, the security sequence, and the depiction of coach versus first class all reflect very real frustrations of air travel. The jokes punch up at the systems and not necessarily the individuals, which helps keep the bitterness funny instead of mean.
That's funny. I don't see our bags.
For a lot of fans, Jet Scream hits harder on rewatch. As kids, it was just non-stop disaster comedy. For adults, it's uncomfortably familiar. The indignities of flying, the loss of control, the sense of everything is technically safe while feeling absolutely cursed. It's also one of the clearest examples of Rocko as the everyman. He does everything right. He follows the rules, he stays polite, and it still all goes wrong. That quiet frustration is a big reason the show stuck with viewers who grew up alongside it. Heifer's joy, meanwhile, reads differently too. His ability to love something terrifying feels ridiculous, but also enviable.
Around your right shoulder and around your waist.
Jet Scream isn't really about airplanes or flying. It's about how little control we have once we hand ourselves over to a system. Sometimes you get Heifer's experience, and sometimes you get Rocko's. Same flight, similar seat, completely different outcome. Modern life doesn't promise fairness. It just promises motion.
I wonder where our bags are, Heifer.
So what do you think? Is Jet Scream one of Rocko's most relatable episodes as an adult, or is it just pure cartoon misery in the sky? Let me know down below. I'm covering Rocko's Modern Life and The Angry Beavers episode by episode, so if you enjoyed this one, please consider liking and subscribing.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Rocko,